Welcome to We Are the Remedy, where each week we highlight a person from the community who embodies the idea of people helping people.
Hi everybody, my name is Mark Machado. I'm a realtor with Corcoran Global Living, and I'm a proud sponsor of Donuts for Breakfast and We Are the Remedy. I believe that Desire to Inspire Studios is a great and safe place for kids to learn. The opportunity to be able to come out and experience what it's like to be on a set, experience what it's like to work with other people, experience what it's like to have to create and build relationships with people that you're going to work with is so important. We need to respect our youth, and we need to teach them, we need to help them grow. And I think this is a great opportunity for us and myself as a sponsor to help those kids grow. If you like this programming and like helping our youth, please consider sponsoring the show. Thank you.
Hi everybody, I'm Mike Pritchard, and we are here for We Are the Remedy. And we have incredible guests today, and along with my co-host and our board member and brilliant asset to our world, my friend Ra, who will be helping me represent the Remedy. And neighborhood is neighbor good, and helping each other find solutions and remedies for the situational things that happen in our community and to our kids and families. And that's what we're all about, to help find ways that we can help them build up the economy of their nonprofit and build up for ourselves a way to build that community unity. So I'm honored to be in the presence of two wonderful ladies, and Ivana and Roxanne, and we're going to let them share a little bit about their journeys, and our good friend Ra is going to help guide us.
All right, perfect. Thank you for being on the show, ladies. Can you introduce yourselves and tell us a little bit about what you do and which organization you are representing?
Go. I am Roxanne Albin, and I am the treasurer for Postpartum Support Center.
Excellent, thank you.
And I'm Ivana Roxanne, and I'm the founder and executive director of Postpartum Support Center.
Welcome, ladies.
And it's a pleasure to be here with you guys today.
Pleasure to have you, really. We know that there are so many moms and young women who need insights that we're going to provide today. So what do you think, what would you most want young people who need you and in the resources that you offer, what would you most want to tell them about the availability of, just even the diapers that you guys were talking about? It made me so happy to hear that just the simplest acts can uplift the spirits and reassure people in their anxious times, right? So what are things that you guys can do?
Tell us what Postpartum Support Services offers to our community.
We offer several different programs. Should we start from Marine Diaper Bank?
Yes.
Through Marine Diaper Bank, we do offer free diapers, free baby wipes, and then a lot of other baby gear and baby supplies like formula, strollers, bassinets, clothes, shoes, cribs, books, toys, you name it. Like
simple support,
and those are actually essentials.
Yes.
And those basic necessities that all children should have access to.
Right.
So we're just trying to alleviate the stress from those families who cannot afford. And since Postpartum Support Center our mission is to really promote prevention and awareness about maternal mental health, giving them supplies, it just takes away the stress. So we're trying to be there for them and help them in any way we can.
So talk a little bit about that. You say that being able to provide those things, those basic needs for infants and for mothers is a stress reliever. How are those two things tied? How does providing that assistance alleviate or work to be a solution for maternal mental health?
It's one of the solutions, because we know that families in need, particularly mothers in need, who are suffering to provide those necessities, they are at huge risk, at increased risk than comparing the mothers who can afford those supplies and don't worry about those things.
Increased risk for.
Increased risk for maternal mental health complications, particularly for postpartum depression and anxiety. And there have been studies done on specifically on diapers. So the moms who are struggling and cannot afford diapers for their babies, they are at very highly increased risk for developing postpartum depression. And those studies were done at Yale University. So those are really credible sources.
Yeah.
Thank you, Yale.
Thank you.
Double
Yale.
blue. Good.
So that was one of the things why we started Diaper Bank, is because we listened to those families that we served. We had last year, I would say about 40, 50 moms who would call, in addition to their other support that they needed, they asked, do you know any resources? Do you know anybody who can give us some diapers?
Okay, so you heard the need.
And we heard the need, and I talked to Roxanne, and I was like, what can we do? And she said, well, let's do diaper drive. And Roxanne was the one who hosted our first diaper drive in her office. And it was a huge success. We've raised, Roxanne can talk about it, so many diapers. We've helped hundreds of families. And then after helping them once, they're like, was that just one time? Is there anything else? Can we,
Were you, Ivana, if you don't mind, can you remember a moment when you saw some moms or a mom getting something and what it did to your heart, having been through your own journey, and you watched what your suffering had brought to you to become in your community with the help of Roxanne and others in the community, and to be able to gift them the release of the stress and anxiety? Can you think of a moment?
I can think of many moments, but the first moment is when we were actually collecting those diapers, and I was anxious myself. I couldn't wait for the moment to take those diapers and give them to those moms.
Just to watch it.
I just couldn't wait, to tell them we have it. Come get it.
We have it, come get it.
Look what we have, yeah.
Exactly. And when they started coming, we scheduled them to come. It was still at Roxanne's office. I think it was really touching to helping them carry those, and the way they are saying thank you and God bless you. And
What did it do for your spirit?
Oh my goodness. Look at me now.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
I don't think words can explain that. And I'm just,
You just
so grateful,
Yeah.
so grateful that we can provide this to them.
Amazing. Roxanne, you had the first diaper drive at your offices. What was that like for you?
It was amazing. When Ivana and I talked about it, so I was one of the original board members, and when we talked about it, there's no Marin diaper bank. There hasn't been one. So she was the first.
People assume it's a wealthy community. People
Right.
assume that there's no need here, and there's a
Right,
bigger need
absolutely.
than we could ever imagine.
Right, and then put COVID on top of it.
Right.
And so many people lost their jobs,
Right.
or everybody was sheltered at home, trying to make it on unemployment or whatever, however they were trying to piece it together.
Right.
Ivana and I one day sat down and went, how much does it cost to have one child in diapers per month? And what would that take out of the household income? And it came out to over $220 a month for diapers, diaper wipes,
Sure.
and formula, if you needed formula.
Yeah.
And for a struggling family, that would be really hard. Now, multiply that if you have more than one child. And so when we had the diaper drive, Ivana is fantastic with putting all the advertisements together, and she's just a whiz. She's done everything.
Yeah.
And seeing the community, the outpouring of the community come to give like boxes and boxes and boxes.
Did you expect it, either of you? That kind of outpouring?
Not to that level.
Not that level.
What did you learn about your community?
They're so supportive. Every time we turn to them for help, we ask for help, they listen and they just say, how can we help? And they bring supplies. Like, we store supplies now. They bring everything we need, basically. So, I mean, thank you guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you on behalf of all those moms and children
Kids,
and parents. And seriously, it's an amazing just thing to watch how grateful they are.
Yeah.
You know, you just see how grateful they are, and that's your reward.
Yes, and what does it do to you to teach? Because this is what we want our young people. We assume things, you know, we don't know that there's going to be this kind of outpouring. But then all of a sudden, you know, I always tell everybody, never quit 1 minute before the miracle happens. And this was a miracle,
It was.
right? And so we don't think that can happen, but then when it does, we learn that we should go farther. And not assume things not, you know, in evidence, and we can do more than we think, and we can become more than we knew, and we can accomplish more than we ever dreamed, right? So
That's exactly what happened. From a diaper drive, it turned into Marine Diaper Bank,
right,
because we saw the need,
right,
and we saw that community supported us, and community wants to help,
yes,
and we just put two and two together, and it just made sense for us to do this.
right.
Amazing.
And
So Postpartum Supports has their Marin Diaper Bank program. What else does Postpartum Support Center offer its community?
we started a postpartum support center with a support line,
Wow,
it's a warm line.
Yes.
And it's 7 days a week, where families, moms can call or text to reach out for support, to talk to peers who have been in their shoes,
Yes.
who understand the struggles,
yeah,
and they call. I have received so many calls, moms crying on the phone, and they just want to vent out and have someone to listen to them and validate their feelings,
Right.
and tell them they're not crazy,
Right.
that things will get better.
Right.
Sometimes just that alone helps you bridge that or get to another
Yeah.
phase, or
listening is love.
It is.
Being
And just
heard is incredibly important.
and sharing, being able to share your own experience with someone else is huge.
Yeah.
And how we overcome our struggles, what helped us, and share those things with them.
Yeah.
It's-
We need to know we're not alone.
Exactly.
And sharing and being vulnerable is part of the process of growing together. Being one person's struggles is another person's lesson. I know that we've said that before, but
Yes.
being able to share what you went through and how you've overcome might shorten somebody else's struggle.
Yes.
Because
Right.
they can stair step off of where you started. It gets them further.
You're a business person, Roxanne. Why? What drew you to this? You could feel it. You could feel it. But what drew you to it?
What drew me to it? One, I've experienced it in the workplace. I've seen it firsthand.
Right.
I never experienced postpartum
For
depression,
yourself.
so I didn't know what it looked like. But I did see it with a coworker, and
Right.
she desperately needed intervention, and she got it. And then I dealt with it on a family level when my
Right.
daughter had my granddaughter, and I didn't know it was postpartum depression, and sure enough it was, and things spiraled very quickly out of control for
Right.
everybody. And it didn't, and one thing about PPSC, and also same thing with postpartum depression, it doesn't just affect the mom and the baby.
Nope.
It's the whole familial system and beyond and
Yes.
beyond.
And the
beyond.
businesses that they work
Right.
in, the school districts they're at, the
Community.
children's, the community, yeah, at large.
Right.
And so if we address this problem, the community gets more well, and we learn that I is illness, but we is wellness, right?
Absolutely.
Right. So when you're watching this and unfolding, what do you say to other business people in the community? Why should we, as business and community leaders, like we do a lot of stuff with Rotary, and we do a lot of stuff helping others in Chamber of Commerce and stuff. Why is it so important for us to help provide that leadership from our own experiences to the families out there, and tell the other families who aren't impacted by this that this could possibly be you at some point.
Right.
You never know.
You might not know if you have been impacted by it,
Wow.
because
Yeah.
I'm sure there's many cases that are under the radar
Yep.
or not talked about.
Yep.
There's a lot of shame. There's a lot of stigma about showing any kind of weakness or mental health issues. I think there's a lot of moms that would try to manage it themselves and get blamed for not being able to handle it better. Ivana and I were just talking about
Yeah.
the whole imagery of what we're supposed to be as we, give birth and have children. We're supposed to be glowing and happy and
Yes.
rested and manage our children's schedules
Right.
and feed them and get them to sleep and get them to behave and get them to school on time. Well, what if you have a chemical imbalance within you
Right.
that is just completely acting up against you?
Yeah.
And what I would say to the employers and to the community, I bet darn well you know somebody who's been impacted by this, but you just don't know.
Yeah.
And we are all assets. Our employees are our assets. They are human lives. They're not just minions carrying out tasks.
Right.
They're people.
Right.
You are brilliant.
That's
You are
absolutely
brilliant.
right.
You are brilliant.
Thank you.
As a community leader, I have to tell you, I learned a thing from a kid who was dyslexic. I think you'll enjoy this. 2 things I learned. It's great to learn from little kids. They're neurodiverse, so he is dyslexic. And he said, Mr. Mike, did you know that the word blame is me at the end of blah, blah, blah? And shame is me at the end of shh, shh, shh. I said, wow, you are so smart. And he goes, yeah, well. And sometimes kids can teach us in a powerful way. One of them had taught me that silent and listen, same letters, reactive and creative. And my favorite of all time for all of us is one of the kids goes, did you know that because I'm dyslexic, I learned that DNA is just really and. And I was like, wow. So I think that, what you're both sharing and what's really insightful is out there in the business community, we're all asking you to see the need out there. And we ask you to participate in helping fund it. If we can get a miracle at a diaper bank, what could we get if we do more to make the community well and bring it the medicine of kindness and compassion and wisdom? I did a movie on the neuroscience of happiness, and what we figured out was that only one thing makes a human being happiest throughout their entire life in the happy movie: compassion, loving, and caring about others. Nothing else comes close. Not fame, not fortune, not country club memberships, not golf tee set times, not the privilege of being able to enhance portions of you through plastic surgery. None of this makes us as happy as the simple act of seeing a mom thank you for diapers when they're struggling, right?
Yeah.
That's the gratitude, right? And the purpose of life is a life of purpose.
And PPSC also helps the fathers,
Yeah.
the grandmothers. It helps.
In what ways? Tell me in what ways. Yeah, this is
When
great.
we had the diaper bank at my
Yeah.
office,
Right.
there was a young man. I didn't know the story as to why he was coming.
Right.
But he was coming to pick up the diapers, and he was so grateful to get the diapers and to get the help.
Yeah.
And again, the stigma.
Right. That part.
Right.
Why
And
can't-
Charity.
or asking for help
Yes, asking
Either
for help
one,
in
yeah.
or
general.
needing help
Needing help
man.
and being
and
willing.
taking it and getting it.
How do we get over our pride in those things, right?
I feel like as a society, have placed an absurd amount of importance on rugged individualism. Being able to do for yourself, by yourself, and get where you need to be all by yourself. I think that that's been a great detriment for our society as a whole.
Tell me what you mean by that, Rob.
So you come into the world and in the US, there is an extreme emphasis on independence and autonomy. From birth, really, like, you're going to sleep train your 3-month-old. You're going to put them on a feeding schedule. They need to be trained in order to follow a schedule. This child can't see color yet, but is expected to follow and maintain a schedule on basic needs.
Beautiful.
Basic needs?
Great.
Sleeping and eating. And that's where it starts. And the older we get, the more we're told, you can do this. You can do this on your own. If you can't do it on your own, you need to keep working until you can do it on your own. And if you can't and you need help, there's a fundamental flaw in your design.
In you as a person.
In you as a person. In you as a person. And I think that particularly when we're talking about family dynamic, because not a lot of people really are willing to have the conversation about family dynamics. No one wants to talk about how the family unit changes during pregnancy, during birth, post-birth, for that fourth trimester, as we like to call it, when you have this undeveloped human ball of giggly, googly, pooping awesomeness who dictates how everything else is going to move in your home, how you eat, when you eat. The interesting thing about postnatal dynamics in a home is you can have multiple people in a home who are semi-autonomous. You can have a mom, a dad, multiple children ranging in age. Depending on their age, they have a certain level of autonomy. They're going to school, mom's at work, dad's at work, they come home, they do their business, they eat together, they go to bed, right? You introduce this new being who biologically needs every single person in that house to be aware of their needs first, because that's how humans stay alive. Wow. We have to all cater to this new being, and nobody talks about what that need does to the dynamic of the household and how the responsibility of those people in that household changes. A mother or father might be the head in household as the breadwinner, or the head in household as the primary care provider. And then that child comes in and that dynamic might shift a little, or it might shift a lot. If you have a mom who was handling her business, like legitimately on top of her ish the whole time, kids were home-fed meals, were going to school on time, extracurricular activities, and suddenly she has a new baby, and this is a completely different child. This child is colicky. This child is up all night. This child is only sleeping for 2 hours at a time. Totally different dynamic. The children now do not have that primary care provider to create that stability. And how do you address that dynamic shift? How do you teach dad that time off is a necessity? How do you teach businesses that paternity leave is just as essential as maternity leave, because that parent, that second parent, if they're available, needs to pick up so that mom can take a break and cater to her needs just as much as the needs of the baby. Those are all these shifting dynamics, and nobody has those conversations. We don't have them in prenatals. We don't have them in doctor's visits. If we're lucky, we have an attentive enough primary care provider for postnatal that'll tell you, be aware of your moods, be aware of how you're interacting with your child, be aware, make sure you're eating, make sure you're feeding yourself, make sure you're bathing yourself. And logically, as human beings, we say, no, I'm going to bathe. Of course I'm going to bathe. I've been doing it for 38 years. Of course I'm going to bathe. And then you have this new baby, and all of a sudden you haven't showered in 3 days, and you're eating lettuce because it's the only thing left on your other kids' plates after you've thrown together a meal. And I think that kind of information is just important for moms to have, whether they're new mothers or experienced mothers, because we all know that every child is different. Every birthing experience is different. And every time there's a new addition, the dynamic of the family changes.
Absolutely.
And I think that's as a pillar of maternal mental health, I think postpartum is doing an amazing job of providing a space for people who don't know to come and find out. And to let go of that shame. You're not alone. You don't have to do this all by yourself.
That's you just said everything exactly right, and like I think you nailed it.
I was just going to go, hey, ain't she something? Right?
Well, she's a mom.
Yeah.
She knows. She
Right.
knows.
It's such a different shift.
It is, the society takes care of pregnant women so beautifully. Do you need to sit, a mom who's pregnant? Do you, oh, you look beautiful, like everything. Oh, do you need something? Do you need water? Like they're always attentive. And once mom gives birth, then where's the baby?
Yeah.
Nobody talks about mom.
Where's the baby?
Where's the
Let me
mom
hold the
then?
baby.
Like mom needs to recover
Yeah.
from carrying the baby for 9 months, from the birth. Could be easy, could be really difficult, could be long. And it takes, can you imagine what it does to you for 9 months? All your organs get shifted, right? How long does it take for them to get back where they were?
Yeah.
And for your, all the hormones that go up and down, and it's perfectly normal for every mom to feel sometimes sad,
Yeah.
to cry, to feel like I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah. I don't know who I am.
I don't know who I am.
To not recognize their own body.
Exactly. But at the end of the day, every mom does it right.
Yes.
Every mom, you're doing it right because they have those instincts and they know what they need to do.
Right.
And sometimes there is that fear if they're doing right or not. And that's why I'm like, you have the number.
Yeah.
Call us.
Call.
If you're not sure how you're feeling, if you're not sure what's happening, talk to moms who've been there.
Yeah.
They can help you
Help.
navigate that
Yeah.
and transition that period.
Yeah.
And we also, in addition to support line, we connect them with the resources in the community, help them find therapists, psychiatrists, lactation consultants, whatever they need at that time. We've helped them even find childcare,
So
whatever
PPSC
really they
is
need.
really like a resource-rich organization. You guys provide, if you aren't doing it like actually support, like the support line, you do have the numbers, you do have the resources to send out somebody to get them where they need to be if you can't do what they need.
Well, we try to do whatever we can
Right.
to get them the help that they need.
Right.
And once they reach out to us, that's a huge thing, because it means you recognized that you could use some support.
Right.
Right.
Asking for help.
And asking for help, I can't say this enough, is not a weakness.
No, it is not.
It's not a weakness, it's strength.
It is.
And so all moms, you guys are so, brave and just ask for help
Ask for
anytime you need it.
You can
And
say the
there's-
words, it takes a village, over and over again.
Over
and it's
and
such a
over.
cliche statement until you witness it work. Until you say, I can't alone. I need my village. I need
Yes.
help. And it should be that way.
And when we see, I think, especially here in Marine Lake, we see a lot of Instagram photos and Facebook photos of perfectly happy, healthy, beautiful families. But I can guarantee that every single family has some
Has some
their
struggles.
own
Right.
struggles
Right.
Their struggles.
that
Yes.
you cannot see behind those,
Right.
photos.
Yeah.
So
And we need to push past that perfectionism and
Yes.
help anyway when they kind of try to
Push off.
push off.
Yeah, that part. That's another one that I'm really, in case you didn't know, I've recently been brought onto the board of Postpartum Support Services, and I'm so excited.
What she said.
From my own experiences, and Ivana and I have talked about this before, there was I was so disassociated from the reality of what I was living with my first child, and moments that I have in retrospect, like breastfeeding and making bulk dinners like 5 days after birth, like holding a baby and cooking and nursing at the same time. And at the time being like eyeball deep in it. And looking back on it and being like, I lived with 4 other people. Nobody took the baby and told me to sit down. Nobody. It was just assumed like, oh, she's doing it, so she's doing it. Like,
and I think that there lays one of the problems that we need to address. Because we can really, we as women and mothers can do anything. We are so strong.
But we get
and there is
exhausted.
a reason. There is a reason why we give birth,
Right.
and there is a reason why we call our earth motherland. Right?
Right?
We don't call it fatherland.
No.
Because mother is mothering,
Right.
you know, and I think we sometimes have to take a step back and say, okay, I need a break.
Yeah.
I need to breathe.
Yeah.
I need moment for myself.
Yeah.
And
Demand it.
if exactly
Demand
to be
it.
a little bit assertive and say, I really need this.
Yeah.
You know, that
Yeah.
this is not optional. I need this.
So let's talk about that a little bit in conjunction with the two things that I think a lot of mothers can agree with or can feel for: mom guilt and postpartum anxiety. So, do you get women who come to your hotline or come to you and say, I know I need this time to myself, but I feel so bad for leaving my child with their grandmother, or telling dad that he has to watch the kids for an hour so I can go get my eyebrows waxed? Like, do you come across women who have a hard time
yes.
being that kind of selfish, that kind of good
Yes.
selfish?
Yes.
Good
all
selfish.
the time.
I like that word. Good
Yeah.
selfish.
All the time. They want to go out for a walk. They want to try, they want to go have a Zumba class or whatever. And they say, well, this is the first time I've been away from my baby for 1 hour. And I just kept texting my husband or calling, or I'm like, that's okay.
That's okay.
That's how you feel, but you learn, you know, sometimes you feel like, I want to text, maybe distract yourself with something else.
Right.
You know, and then text later.
Right.
Try to delay that, but
That compulsion.
it's normal. That's how we
It's
feel.
anxiety.
Yeah.
And
It's that lack of control.
we've had moms who they took vigil on like with her and her husband at night. So one of them had to stay awake throughout the night.
Right.
So they would switch, but someone would have to be awake with the baby because they were so afraid that baby would either die in his
Right.
sleep or something could happen. So they stay awake. And can you imagine two parents and they have to work
That level
and
of
they have babies
exhaustion.
and how exhausted they are?
Yeah. Exhaustion.
And then you have COVID that nobody can come to help you.
Right. You're doing it all.
And you're
alone.
doing it all by yourself.
Oy.
And if you have nobody else to share that with because you think that something's wrong with you, you know that that's not normal,
Normal, right.
and you don't want to share that with anybody, then we have a big problem with that, you know.
Do you realize how important what you're all three saying is for our culture, for our society? Not just here in Marin, but internationally.
Yeah.
And to make hold folks accountable, hold employers accountable, confront. I always say intervene, confront, enlighten.
Yeah.
Say, hey, look at what we do to the people we love the most. Everybody loves their grandkid, but we're wearing out our daughter-in-law.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So many different dynamics that are influenced by how we interact. Grandparents who want to be with their grandkids all the time, but mom just needs a quiet house for a while.
Right.
You know,
Right.
or friends who come over and want to hold the baby, but don't want to help with the dishes.
And that's
Is that a particular? Oh, never mind. I think we heard. Anyway,
Okay, my next question.
great job.
If you guys had full funding, if you had double your operation costs, if we had a continued influx of funds, triple, quadruple, if we had
I love that.
invested philanthropists consistently giving, what would we be capable of? What would PPSC be able to do? What do you see? What's your greatest wish to give back to the community through PPSC?
through PPSC. Well, I can tell you my vision, my dream for PPSC.
Please do.
Is to really have a center for those moms, like a physical center,
Right.
where there would be a childcare for those who can't afford to have a
That's a
child
whole
care.
another story, child
Exactly.
care.
There would be a place for them to come and relax and have that baby watched by someone else while you can take a moment for
Just
yourself.
be.
Just be. Exactly.
Just be.
Or sometimes you need to go do something and you can't pay for a babysitter. You don't have a means to have someone else there
Right.
so that there is a community. Then you can come and get the resources you need. You can come get the supplies that you need.
Right.
That you can just come and hang out with the moms who are in the same
In the same
age,
space,
in the
yeah.
same
Yes.
space as you are.
Yeah.
So for me, that is something that I really want to see,
That would be incredible.
like a big center where
An
there is
actual
enough
center.
space. There's so much anxiety about moms if their babies are gaining enough weight. And especially nursing moms, is it, is the baby
Healthy.
healthy?
Is it getting
Is
enough?
it getting
Is she
enough? And they want to weigh baby, but you can only weigh baby if you go to see your doctor,
Right.
or if you buy a scale for yourself.
Which is, infant scales are nuts. They're so expensive. They're
and
crazy.
and I'm like, why don't we have as a community like a few of those for moms to don't always feel like that,
Right.
to help them out a little bit.
To assuage that anxiety.
Exactly. I know that there's something in Petaluma, but I haven't seen anything here in
Right.
Marin.
Can I share something with all three of you that I think we have two really valuable resource centers here. One is Marin Community College, and the other is Dominican University. These kind of forums, what you three are talking about right now, urgently needed to teach young students.
Could you
Urgent.
imagine young nursing students from Dominican doing their
Thank
clinicals
you.
at Postpartum Support Services?
Yes.
Those
Right.
interested in going into pediatric nursing or pediatrics being able to do their clinics, having a biweekly or a weekly clinic where mothers who are on Medicare or are used to going to urgent care can just say, I need to do a well baby checkup. I'm concerned. I'm worried. Advice nurses you can only really get to if you have a primary health care provider, to be able to know that you can call the clinic at Postpartum Support Services and say, my baby hasn't been drinking a full bottle all day. I'm concerned. Or she's been running a low-grade fever. Can I just bring her in? And knowing that it's not going to cost you $500 to have your doctor say she's fine. She's just having a bad day.
Well, you just described it, but it would be wonderful, right?
That's
It
the
would be
most amazing
wonderful.
goal ever. What a giving gift you would be able to provide for the
yes.
community.
I
And
will,
just to have the classes that we offer now
Right.
through Zoom in person
Yes.
would be a huge difference.
Right.
When pregnant women, so one of the services that we offer is ROSE, that's a postpartum depression prevention program, that's evidence-based program that prevents depression, especially in low-income families, mothers. And it is evidence that it reduces the risk in 50%. So it's a really good program. It teaches you how to communicate to your partner, how to help yourself, how to use your pleasant activities throughout the day, how to relax, how to, when you feel all those feelings that are very common for us moms, this program really prepares you for those.
Yeah.
So then when you start experiencing them, you know what's happening.
Yeah.
And we also teach them how their partner might react in certain situations, and
Right.
then how
urgently important.
Yeah.
how they can
There's
prevent
that dynamic.
Keep them in the loop.
That dynamic.
Keep them in the loop.
Really
Exactly.
addressing that
All right.
dynamic.
how
That's
they
amazing.
can prevent arguments, how they can avoid certain things. Okay, I know we want to say some things, but maybe we can
Watch
say
our triggers.
different way,
Right.
and still get what we need.
Right.
So the ROSE program is really amazing, and it would be wonderful to offer it in person.
In person. That would be incredible.
Let me, we are completely out of time right now, and I just want to share one thing. A great teacher named Helen Keller was asked, it must be hard, a young reporter said, it must be hard for you to be blind. She said, well, it would be if I had no vision. And you two have an incredible vision. I'm glad that Roz joined you,
I'm so
because she is brilliantly well equipped to speak for you and write for you and help you hone the message. And all of us here at Desire to Inspire will be more than happy to help you in any way we can
Yes.
to further your mission, to further your community efforts, and to help you with children and families and moms and their spouses. So thank you on behalf of our community for who you are, what you've become, and what you will continue to do.
to be.
Thank you to the business community for their efforts. The real successes aren't the people that love money and use people, they're the people that love people and use money. And
We
so
could
we're
all,
grateful.
there's something we all can do, no
Yep.
matter what income level.
Right.
So everybody can be of service in some way. And there's
Everybody
all
can
sorts of,
be of
you should have
service.
seen
Right.
what Ivana has done with a very shoestring budget.
Yes.
Very shoestring.
Right.
And
Yeah.
we need more support.
We do. I want to.
Yeah.
I want to throw that out there as we wrap up.
Right.
A healthy family is a healthy community,
Right.
and they're creating a foundation for a healthy family. And I think that that's something that everybody should be able to get behind. That's something that everybody should be able to invest in. And we're really talking about an investment that would pay dividends for generations, because not only are those women who are coming in and learning to prevention, but those are messages that are going to pass on to their daughters and their sons, who are going to go into their marriages and become fathers educated,
Right.
because they'll have learned those lessons from the people that came from postpartum. So
We are the remedy. We ask you to all go out there and be the medicine. And we thank you for your support for what we continue to try and bring to the light in our community for you. Rob?
thank you for being people helping people. And thank you for helping us continue to be people helping people.
Right.
And thank you very much, ladies, for joining us today.
Yeah, very much, Ivana
you for
and
having us.
Roxanne. Thank you so much. It was awesome. Great
We'll
job.
see you guys next time.
Hi, everybody. My name is Mark Machado. I'm a realtor with Corcoran Global Living, and I'm a proud sponsor of Donuts for Breakfast, and we are the remedy. I believe that Desire to Inspire Studios is a great and safe place for kids to learn. The opportunity to be able to come out and experience what it's like to be on a set, experience what it's like to work with other people, experience what it's like to have to create and build relationships with people that you're going to work with is so important. We need to respect our youth, and we need to teach them, we need to help them grow. And I think this is a great opportunity for us and myself as a sponsor to help those kids grow. If you like this programming and like helping our youth, please consider sponsoring the show. Thank you.